Hello, good morning, and a very happy full moon to you all. So, thank you for joining me here. I'm delighted to be back. Oh, I love these moon events. There's so much energy that comes through, so much passion, so much wisdom. You know, it's every 2 weeks it feels like we step through another portal, like we take another step forward. And we are heading towards a truly massive event coming up at the equinox. It's going to be beautiful. Don't know what it is, but it's going to be beautiful. I'll be here as ever. Yeah, it's rather like, I think the past 3 years have been like trying to turn a barge, a massive barge that hasn't really wanted to turn, and we've had to free it. We've had to find a captain for it, all these things, and gradually this barge has broken free of its moorings and it is starting to turn, and it feels incredible. It feels exciting, and long may it continue. And we have no idea what new direction it's going to go off into, but it's going to be a hell of a lot better than where we've been. But we needed to be where we were. We needed to go into the darkness, to see it, to work with this energy so that we can truly empower ourselves and be a guide and a light for everyone else. Nothing was wasted in the past 3 years. Nothing. Everything that has happened has been an opportunity for us to grow, to evolve, to become exactly who we need to be for this time. And I know it's been tough. I know it's been tough on so many people. And you just got to tell yourself, you know what, you did it. You've reached this point, and sorry, it doesn't feel like an ending. It feels like a beginning. But obviously, in order for there to be an ending, in order for there to be a beginning, there has to be an ending. So, yeah, there's lots and lots of feelings coming through around regret and grief for a lot of people, and it's okay. It really is okay to actually have this sense of relaxation, like we've done it. When you've climbed a massive mountain and you can just take a pause and look down and say, I did it, I got this far, and congratulate yourself. You have pushed forward through thousands of lifetimes. You have worked your arse off, but you made it here. And I think that deserves a celebration. I think that deserves a congratulations from us to ourselves, to say we made it. And I think that fits in quite well with this Virgo moon, because we don't turn around and congratulate ourselves enough. We don't praise ourselves enough. We don't tell ourselves that was a job well done. Everything is so critical and so negative, and it's always, could you have done better? Well, really, no. Sorry, but I couldn't have done better, because that's who I was at that time. And for us to look back and say, oh, you should have known, you should have done better, it's nonsensical. It's utterly ridiculous, because the fact is you didn't. And that's all there is to it. So a lot of forgiveness, a lot of congratulations, I think, are needed. And in this Virgo full moon, someone described Virgo to me once, and they said they're the classic two-faced bastard. And I thought, well, that's one way of describing it. In other words, they have... No, that was Gemini. I tell a lie. I can't remember anything. Virgo, yes, coming on to Virgo, dearie me. And it's a full moon, can't you? Virgo is the one who strives for perfection. Everything has to be just right. Hence why they're talking to me about forgiving ourselves, etc. I should listen more, shouldn't I? Virgo, that everything has to be just right. And if it isn't, it's not enough. And so, this Virgo moon can be quite challenging, because it pushes us to ask ourselves and say, am I enough? Which, of course, the answer is yes. Did I do enough? Again, the answer is yes. You've always been enough. You always will be enough. Because you are universal energy, and to turn around and say universal energy isn't enough is an absolute nonsense. So this moon is asking us to turn around and have a look at what it is that we do in our lives, how we treat ourselves. And of course, how we treat other people is purely a reflection on how we treat ourselves. There are no relationships out there that aren't a mirror, a signpost for how we treat ourselves. And generally we treat ourselves in a very, very unbalanced way. One minute we can love ourselves amazingly, we've done so well, but why? Because we did something extraordinary. Well, we don't need to do anything extraordinary in order to be worthy of love, in order to be worthy of who we are. You just are worthy because, well, that's it, end of story. And the next minute we turn around and we say, oh, I didn't do enough. And yet the day before you were singing your praises and saying, look at me, look how incredible I am. And you go from that to the next day saying that you are not worthy of anything. We must begin to recognize that this is not actually a real state. That these swings, they are not actually who we are genuinely. We are just being pushed and swayed by all the energy around us. The real us knows that we are light. The real us knows that everything we do is exactly perfect in that moment. So this Virgo moon is asking us to have a look at our lives, to have a look and say, where is this huge imbalance in my life? Which part of myself have I been ignoring? Do I give too much and never ever receive? Do I constantly focus on fighting the darkness and not on bringing in the light? Is my work-life balance completely skew-whiff? Now, these are really important questions. Do I hold an ideal in my head that I'm never going to reach, and actually I need to bring some self-acceptance in? There are so many questions to ourselves that need to be asked. There are so many moments when we can just sit in peace and be with ourselves and say, what is it now that I need? And why, for instance, would we be someone who gives too much and doesn't receive? Which is a really classic state in human life. Why? Because we've been told that unless we continue to give, we are not worthy of, we're not worthy of being us. This idea that we are so incredibly selfish as human beings, that the only way we can kind of counter this immense selfishness is actually by just giving and giving to other people. Of course, this is a complete lie. Human beings aren't inherently selfish, and what if we were? It doesn't matter. If that is the way that you feel, if that is who you are, and your focus is yourself and being happy and joyful, this is not selfish. This is trying to look after yourself so that you can then in turn give to others. But we must come first. It's this idea that we have to make up for all our sins. This is what religion did to us. This is, and I love spirituality. Don't get me wrong, I am a big fan of Jesus, the healer, the child of God, just as we are all children of God, children of Source. But people decided to use some of the most beautiful, magnificent masters who've ever lived to punish us. To say that you are too small, that you will never reach the heights that you need to reach, so therefore we will forgive you. Is it any wonder we spend an entire lifetime trying to make up for the supposed sins that we have committed throughout our hundreds or thousands of lifetimes, carrying this burden, this immense weight of being human, almost as though being human has become the sin. We need to change all that. So we need to start looking at our life and saying, what is lacking? You know, our life seems so full of stuff. But actually, when you really look, you may see it's just full of rubbish. And there's no room for the good stuff. There's no room for the riches, for the important stuff, for the abundance. So there is no balance, because your suitcase that you carry is just full of nonsense. So we need to make some room for that. And Virgo is asking us to do that. It's asking us to say, where is there balance lacking in my life? How much have I crammed my life full of all the things that punish me, that don't bring me joy, that hurt me? And of course, the more we carry around this painful stuff, the more we attract it. Because the universe says, oh, look how much you love carrying your pain. Look how much you simply adore, focusing on all the darkness within your life. You must love it. So therefore, we'll give you some more. And then we end up even further out of balance. It's time to start clearing some rubbish from our lives. It's time to start focusing on other things. And you know what? It's so easy to keep focused on the darkness, because this is what people talk about. This is what people experience every day. And it's very difficult for them to stand up and say, you know what, I'm not going to focus on that. I'm not going to read the paper. I'm not going to listen to the news, because everybody talks about it. So it takes a hell of a lot for us to actually step away and say, I'm not going to get involved in that. It takes individual strength, but you've got that strength. You have it. And fine, you may not resonate with people, with the old crowd, but they'll start looking at you and thinking, well, why do you seem happier now? What's going on? And by pulling yourself up, you will pull them up. They will begin to step in and they will start to follow you. So in fact, you become a kind of little messiah. Because that's what happens when we step into the light, when we step into our light, is that we inspire other people to come and do the same. We inspire other people to bring balance into their life and to actually turn around and start saying, we know what, I've been too focused on the pain and the darkness within my life. I want to choose another way. But we can't inspire if we ourselves sit in a massive state of imbalance. We need to find what it is that is lacking in our lives and then make room for it. I know people who will say, I want to bring something beautiful into my life. And I say, well, where's the room? Oh, I haven't got room right now, but I'd still like to bring it in. But you can't bring something into your life if you don't make room for it. If you don't focus your energy, your passion on what it is that you like. And some people may say, oh, that's just a dream. But all of this is a dream. We dreamed up everything. People had a dream that their life was going to be terrible and awful, and it became true. But other people had a dream that they were going to build a business that was huge and benefit people all across the world, and they did it. Everything starts with a dream. To say it's just a dream is powerless. It's not empowering ourselves. The energy in a dream is so strong, so clear, so empowering. You mustn't be afraid to dream. You mustn't be afraid to seek what it is that we're missing. And after all, how do you find out what is missing in your life? It's by dreaming of the perfect life, isn't it? If you sit there and you say, I'm going to dream now of the most perfect life, you can feel it. You can feel what's missing. You become aware of what it is that you need to bring into your life. But when you constantly are walking in your life as it is, constantly walking always in this reality, which isn't real at all, of course, when we're constantly walking that path, dealing with all the burdens, feeling nothing but the negative, there's no room for dream. We can't imagine a bigger life. We can't imagine how we could change anything because we don't allow ourselves to dream. We don't allow our passion to actually start rising within us. So that daydream, that moment when perhaps you look at somebody else's life and you go, oh, that's so beautiful. I'd like to have that. That moment is so important because in that moment you're actually able to turn around to yourself and say, well, what's stopping me? And when we pause and when we look at our own lives and think, what is stopping me? Then we can see it. But if we don't ever open our imagination, if we don't ever consider that we could have something else, that we could live a different way, if we don't ever allow that imagination to come through, we're never ever going to work out what it is that we need in our life and then actually call it in. You know, because the universe, it's sitting there, it's knocking at the door. And they're saying, what do you need? What do you want? What's missing? And what do? We sit back and we go, well, you know, I'm fine. Life is fine right now. Really? Is it? Honesty, stripping ourselves back and being in ourselves with honesty is so important. You know, people can't bring us gifts if they don't know what we need. People can't offer us help if we won't admit that we need help. So it's time to have a look. And you know what? Just because you have a look, it doesn't mean that your life is suddenly going to fall apart. People worry about this. They worry that if they change one thing, everything is going to collapse. If they are honest, if they open up for a moment to how their heart is truly feeling, they have this huge worry that everything is going to fall apart and they won't be able to cope. But how do you cope without a dream? How do you live a life if you just spend the whole time in darkness? If you can cope with that, you can cope with change, you can cope with the light coming in. Because living in darkness is not easy. It is heavy and burdensome. And when you open the curtain, the door, and you let a little bit of light in, that's a little bit of magic you're bringing in. A little bit of joy, of hope. That's a beautiful thing to do. It is empowering. It doesn't make you weaker. So don't worry that, you know, if you suddenly look at your life and go, wow, there's a lot to change. You don't need to change it all in 1 second. Just bring a little bit in. Open that door a tiny bit and look out and see what could be. See what you need. See what your heart needs. And then you can bring it in. Then you can create it. The universe loves to gift us. The universe loves bringing us what we need, but it can only bring us what we ask for. It can only bring us what we focus on. So if you want gifts, you can have gifts. But make sure it's gifts that you really want. Make sure it's gifts that will bring your life into the most beautiful state of balance. Not one that will keep you locked in pain, locked in hopelessness. We have so much potential, so much to look forward to. Focus on that. Focus on your dreams. and then see how life will change. It will. But we must be open to receiving. Okay, we can't just ask and then shut off our heart and go, no, I don't want it. Because again, the universe will say, oh, they like not receiving their gifts, this kind of self-torture thing. That's what I want, but I'm not going to allow it in. No, if you want something, you have to allow it to come into you. You have to be open. And that means knowing that you are worthy of receiving these gifts, that you are worthy of being given opportunities, of joyful events, of people who are there to support you. You know, again, I know people who will turn away from the support that the universe offers. They'll turn away from it because they'll go, but that couldn't be for me, that's too good. There's no such thing as too good. Honestly, if you asked for it, you deserve it. If you dreamt it, you deserve it. Open up and allow someone, something, the universe to spoil you. It's not being spoiled, actually. Allow the universe to gift you as you wish. This idea that we are spoiled when we have our dreams fulfilled, it's got to go. It just has to go, because it kind of means, you know, when you spoil someone, it means just for a day, just for a moment, you've done something good enough to deserve this. And actually, we constantly deserve something. We constantly deserve joys and happiness and abundance. There doesn't have to be any karmic payback. There doesn't have to be any balancing out. That again is another myth that we've carried for so long. If you want something, have it. It's not being greedy. It's not being selfish. The universe has an endless supply of energy and opportunity, just waiting there. All you have to do is open up and accept it. Now, let's have a look at some cards before I wibble on much longer. So today I've brought out this gorgeous pack, The Secret Language of Light. And 3 cards just jumped out, fell out actually. And the first one is called Focus. Okay, and this card says that we have to place the focus on love. We have to place our focus in the center of our heart. Just as I've been saying, we need to come back into the real us. The real us who is a divine being of light, not this us that you know exists here. This is just a temporary vessel that carries the divine us so that we can experience this world. But it's not really us, because we are just a divine being of light, just having an experience here. To come back and focus on who you really are. Come back and focus on that wonderful unlimited being that you are. And when you can connect with that being, you begin to have a sense of who you really are and of all the things that you deserve and all the things that you are worthy of having. I shall say that again, worthy of having. Then we have the card Nourish. Okay, this is about nourishing your body and your soul. Again, this is the 2 aspects. Which aspect are you neglecting? You know, here, whilst we live in this existence, we take care of the earth, but we also take care of Gaia, the spiritual earth. We can't focus just on our spiritual self and neglect our physical body, our physical needs. Likewise, we can't just focus on the physical self and neglect our mental or emotional needs. There must be balance in all areas. We must see ourselves as a whole and take care of every aspect of ourselves. Not ignore one to the detriment, not take care of one to the detriment of the other. We are a whole person. So if we think, oh, yes, I am a divine being of light, but that means that I can let my body fall apart, we can't. Because this is the divine vessel that carries the divine light that we are. So there must again be balance in all things. And then we have a very interesting card. I'm going to have to read this, called Vesica Piscis. Sounds a bit cheeky. Okay, and this again tells us that we need to focus on the inner and the outer world. Just like we're saying, we can't focus just on the body and not on the spirit, and vice versa. The inner and the outer world, the inner need and the outer need, the inner joy and the outer need. You know, a lot of people are saying, or say that they're quite happy to sit in meditation and they love those moments and they will gift themselves as much healing and meditation time as they could possibly want because it makes them feel so good. And that's wonderful. But then they will deny themselves good food. They will deny themselves a nice place to live. They will deny themselves anything that their physical outer self needs. But you can't neglect one divine part of you in order to focus on the other. We must bring energy into both areas, into both parts of our lives. So we must focus on the inner and the outer world. We must satisfy the needs of the inner world and the outer world. Because there isn't one that is better than the other. This idea that spirit is better than the body. It's not. They were both created by divine source. They are both created out of light. So to neglect one is actually to neglect all of us. To punish one aspect is to punish all of us, because we are a whole. And we must respect and honour the whole being that we are, and love the whole being that we are. So we're going to see what light language is going to come through, and the messages that they have for us as we step forward. I can feel the energy rising already. So I want you to sit back, get comfortable, and take a breath. And allow that breath to just flow out, making room for the next breath. And again, let that breath just flow out. You will find that as you release, you make room naturally for the next breath to come in. Everything in our breathing is in balance. One flows naturally to the next. The out breath flowing naturally to the in breath. And on the journey goes. Just like us. When we release and we let go of what we no longer need, we make room for the new to come in, creating balance within our lives. Kiara na tawar jo kursia moshia. Kimedinja na marashuni kozia motar mashaya. Tamrajin kamaji moramada romborsuotar kibisi shigaranda da karezi. Tamarabontoro dunka. Tamarabaji kimishwarando sotor smisia tarmadajiana. Tamarmondaris kumoscora tadajina. Shimakanimitarishkiza jutuna. Tavariti indicasho sor matarajo. Ankongangia mara darjinikishia. Tamarabiti durn kusia tormashara nasaya daya modara shmesia. Ema karizika, amarujun do kujara smatai, baranda do jora msibaita maza, akamada new dormoshara smetia, baranda tashia, akayimo dormoja simieta barazino kujara, tono jokarsia, tema yamoto bajana, kimadada jomo kojan, matashi patasinia, karande teshia, amarono tasha siterekia, pataramatatiske, tamujumora zoborada jinikesia, anadajno kora, nasia dai. Metarinda torre jukrasima, a matarini ke jor matarashini ke zaurun dorosora, paradarin koshia, madanania zama taramita repitoran, and yeturu sunt kaoran natashini ke jara, a maya the morodarjinisia, paradara keshia, and yodorazun kasia. You say for so long you have grounded yourself in the mud. And all the time they're trying to get you to reach up, but you must now allow yourself to rise up out of the mud, stand up. You do not need to be in the mud in logojukora sinja. Amadare mizimbushura natasia. And in the jutorun shumushara matashia, kimatarjinikashia, samaratarabinikasivia, maranoroshaya, and azomodara masia. And yet there are si madaramatsi makaya narumojara, and you dumushara nasia. Amakia daresi kisia matar nepidad matparatad yata masia kayo noran datashia marjinya dar misia bakiara kajianya toramashia parazia kadinyo dormashwesia smiyata masina kashia tanyo rotorzi dar masia maraki darakia tanjana tataijinya madatashia kenajna karadanya marakashia nakarideteshiasa ajia darani Janya tarabasia kamadarniki shimarata siya tormosara tesia. We must come back into a state of loving kindness to ourselves, no longer the punishment. We've had enough of that. It is time to rebalance and to come back to the softness. You don't need to fight in this world anymore. Come back to the softness. Majadar zija karatatashia. Kejian diama tarazadin yakajke suyor matarajoro soratai. Madia romasiaro. Torun do kojara. Simishata. Shmikeada mashia. Simietar magikanasia. Bediaro. Moshoran tasia. Amornor tashiku shukuru shukarabazi baranatashia. Anyara majora natashia. Sibiado moswa. Taradetijin nakaya. Darishke sinia de karatia, kujum de karasinia karadeshka, shinjetia niamor de jora, sora, tarajora, sorada de brekio jora marajia, aniodorsime. Biar tasia, sia, daramadarjinka, ajinia, kormatasia, adijinia, shunia, zora matarjia, ekiana casia, adiama daragio rantajasiam. They say they would like you to dream that you are worthy, to dream that you are this beautiful, beautiful divine being that they know you are, and to allow that softness that comes when you dream of this to influence you to change this physical life. Adiane diaznya tadia marabatatia nyabaraturun korjara, shinjo jomora, shinjon namaratajun sunya kaya, karmatajia, mijunda tajna karati, meti marabaratan koshia. You have beaten yourself up for too long. Majinya karamokoje, chindermatsibasha, no karandatashikia, sunjon de dima de baratechi kojina garze, chinjana majita buruso, koarandakaya, marabadidin. When you actually connect with your heart, it will show you who you truly are. And not all Sara. I do come at Ajnikia, Burundatasio, Ratatai, but I did not Asia, but I didn't a corrosion Kasia, Juntuj Petesia, Nadia no more Tasia, Kamadarish no Kuj, Tuna Kijiara Petesi, Paradete Shinikejara Petesi Misha, Tijian no corrosion, Sayada Madi no modo Baradata Shinikeshia, Ajania. You have toiled in the fields for too long. It is time to come back and reclaim the spiritual being that you are, the power, the spiritual power that we have given away to others, that we have allowed other people to tell us who we are spiritually, but you know in your heart who you are. Biranjada te teji kimikia mikia matarmoshuya. Jinia di sinake, jinia di jin kujimikia, jin koji di waterporoshoda dinyatisia, jinduno no da varajimetkisia, and yet they zin kujiga baratashia. Madanando kusi so nada tabasia, bakaye, do kuniraji kumarajo, da marate go corsia, do no carji kumosha, Zabiana, to donna dai matapatishke, Shumojar and the Tassia. Media donna gati, Porcana kill, Caradio corsia, more tatabia maranda marji coresi, and your domojara, the paya, dies in Niki, Unuda mia, but the Yamudun Make and Maki, Mudu Dumaka, or die, meter and shiuka, Shuno Zora Tashi, and Yasin Nekea. Poranda tata juno koja, sincera matis and nuda barrio toren the kesia, Mazinia sia, signa, and your sora. My dear darmeshia. Anya jor tesi, anya mai ignora tord sinosi, anya sora, tabaye di no cojarsi, tinia darmetea, con nakaj nekesia, jara tasinia. You've worn the cloak of humanity for too long, the cloak of being human. That this is said that all you are. It is time to remove the cloak and let the being that is inside of you just shine out. Let it be seen and felt by you. Mijadajna waratajnikia, tijandia darmatoroshordosia, ancora matainia mainia marudonnakia oramatajna, shijekia, pedarci. Butoprorora tasia, che hanno dasia, mediano koja, chi enya samara to projoka, si giudonna sarandati, ci miatiamma cosia, corandatia, Majinia kawati marabdata shun kaji, sincho ormatashi. Nijumu sharantesis, sukora, timia, murada tajne kaiju, cora dati, sitya. Pita, mora non carjin koja, suoranda tessi, piana, etiana, repetata jodor tessia, agnasia, maratorgo. Muratazia, adia muratashika, shinya, shiuratojaka, tinjeta, shinya kazima, tar kujna kesia, jedina, di maratabrakoshko, onda. Medina darmeteti do cormesia. Yadia, then yamada shiu, honor the being that you are mere giata, a machine care, shundarum so. Anyastar takia. Do you feel that light inside of you? Do you feel the spark of light now growing? Allow it to keep rising within you, keep expanding. Let it show you who you are. Let it show you all the areas of your life where this light needs to go in order to create balance, in order to create a life that you will enjoy and treasure. Let it expand to cover all those areas, to feel what needs to change, to feel where the light needs to enter. And when we're done, go and write down what has arisen for you. Keep it Keep it with you so that you can look back and see where you need to go now and how the light can take you there. So thank you for joining me here today. If you've enjoyed my light language, don't forget that I have a light language shop on my website, Step Into Your Light, where you can find tracks and a whole range of things. Maybe you'll find something that will help you on your journey now. I send you many, many light blessings. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. And I look forward to hearing all the changes that you will make